The surgery was only half finished when Dr. Audrey Vance walked out of the OR. She was the child's mother. She was the child's attending physician. She was the lead surgeon for this very operation. And now, because of a single phone call from her ex-boyfriend, she was abandoning her own daughter on the operating table. Staring at my little girl lying in the ICU, I called Audrey's phone. The procedure was practically over. A trained monkey could have closed. What difference does it make if I was there or not? Shawn's daughter bumped her head. I'm cleaning the cut right now. Don't call me unless it's an emergency. The line went dead, and with it, the life of my precious daughter hanging by a thread. My parents and I were pacing in the waiting area when Dr. Evans, Audrey's assistant, rushed into the operating room. I recognized him. A moment later, Audrey burst through the surgical doors. She barely glanced at me as she threw a single sentence over her shoulder. "It's an emergency," and sprinted down the hall without a backward glance. She left the three of us standing there, mouths agape, in front of the OR doors. My mom watched her disappear around the corner, still processing. Is it over?" No one answered her. The light above the door was still lit. 2 hours later, a nurse with a pale face pushed the door open. She handed me a form, a critical condition notification, and told me to sign. That's when I learned the truth. Audrey had abandoned our daughter mid-surgery because her assistant, holding her phone, had taken a call from Sean Peterson. Chloe hid her head. "There's so much blood. Audrey, you have to come look at her." Audrey had given her assistant specific instructions. "If a call comes from this number, no matter what's happening, notify her immediately." So, she dropped her scalpel and ran to her ex-boyfriend. The rest of our daughter's surgery was completed by Dr. Evans, who reluctantly stepped in to finish the job. It did not go well. After a frantic, chaotic effort to save her, they managed to stabilize Maya, but she had to be moved to the intensive care unit for observation. My mother fainted the second she saw the words "critical condition." My father, his face like granite, stayed by my side. I looked through the thick glass of my daughter, hooked up to a dozen tubes and machines in the ICU, and dialed Audrey's number. "The procedure was practically over," she said, her voice clipped and annoyed. "A trained monkey could have closed. What difference does it make if I was there or not?" Chloe bumped her head, and Shawn was all alone. "I'm dressing the wound now. Don't call me unless it's an emergency." "Audrey, you..." But she had already hung up. After getting my mom settled, my dad stayed at the hospital to watch over Maya. I drove straight to Shawn Peterson's house. After I pounded on the door relentlessly, Audrey, wearing an apron, yanked it open, her face a mask of fury. "Leo, have you lost your mind? If you're having a psychotic break, go check yourself in. Don't show up at someone's house acting like a rabid dog." I shoved past her and stormed into the living room. Shawn was on the couch with his precious daughter, watching a Disney movie. The smell of something cooking drifted from the kitchen. A small Band-Aid was stuck to the little girl's forehead. There wasn't another scratch on her. Seeing me, Shawn put on a fake smile. "Leo, hey." Chloe's little accident really scared me, so I just had Audrey come take a look. The next thing he knew, I had grabbed a vase off the end table and smashed it over his head. Shawn cried out, clutching his head as a line of blood trickled down his angular face. The little girl with the Band-Aid started screaming, a shrill noise that grated on my raw nerves. I spun around to confront Audrey, but she shoved me with all her might. I stumbled backward, my head cracking against the corner of a bookshelf. Stars exploded behind my eyes. "Are you insane, Leo? How dare you attack him?" She scrambled past me, dabbing at Shawn's head with a paper towel, her voice dripping with concern. "It's okay, it's Sakai. I'll take care of it." Shawn pointed a trembling finger at me. "You're crazy, Miller. I'm calling the cops." Audrey shot me a venomous glare. "Apologize. Are you just going to stand there?" I shook my head to clear the dizziness and forced myself to my feet. "Apologize. Right now, I want him dead." I leveled my gaze at her. "Audrey, Maya is in the ICU. If anything happens to her, I swear to God, I will hold you both responsible." "That's enough," she snapped. "I get that you're jealous, Leo, but don't you dare use our daughter to make a point. What kind of father are you?" "It was my surgery. I think I would know if something went wrong. It was a success. All that was left was closing. Anyone could have done it. Stop trying to scare me." Hearing those words, the blood in my veins turned to ice. She had the audacity to call her surgery a success. Then why was Maya fighting for her life in a hospital bed? The image of my daughter flashed in my mind, and I turned to leave. At the door, I looked back at the two of them. If Maya doesn't make it, I'm coming for you both. I thought that after a threat like that, some part of her would have to believe me, that she would at least call the hospital to check on Maya. But for the next 3 days, as Maya fought her way off the critical list and was moved from the ICU to a regular room, Audrey never showed up. Not once. Even the family in the room next door started talking about it. What kind of doctor is that? Bails on her own patient mid-surgery. But she was afraid of a lawsuit. I heard the kid is her own daughter. My God, to leave your own child cut open on the table. That's not a mother. Even a stepmother wouldn't do that. You're telling me. And I heard she ran off because her ex-boyfriend called. A woman like that is better off dead before she ruins more lives. That poor husband. What terrible luck to marry someone like her. The gossip spread through the entire floor, but Audrey remained a ghost. The hospital administration couldn't reach her either. They called her several times with no answer, until finally, her phone went straight to voicemail. Because of this blatant act of medical negligence, I no longer trusted this hospital with my daughter's life. I had Maya transferred to North Shore University Hospital, which had a much better pediatric cardiology department. My father pulled some strings and assembled a team of the best specialists. After reviewing her case, they concluded that while the botched surgery had caused significant stress on her system, the damage wasn't irreversible. However, she would need another operation when she was a bit older. For the next few years, we would have to monitor her health constantly. We couldn't afford a single misstep. My parents breathed a collective sigh of relief at the news, which quickly turned into rage directed at Audrey. Then, just as quickly, they turned on me. I told you from the beginning she was bad news. My mother fumed. But you had to marry her. You never listened to me. And look what happened. That bitch almost killed my granddaughter. You said she was an orphan, that you felt sorry for her, and that's the only reason I agreed to the marriage. If I'd known this was who she was, I would have thrown her out of our house on day one. Listen to your mother for once, Leo. I'm not trying to hurt you. Divorce that monster. Now, I listened to them, my hand wrapped around Maya's, my eyes fixed on her pale, sleeping face. She just had her medicine and was resting peacefully, but her little face was nearly colorless. Looking at her, I finally made my decision. Mom, I'm not divorcing her. Did you suffer a head injury? Were you born without a brain? My mom shrieked. After what she's done, you're still going to stay with her? Today she almost killed her own daughter. Tomorrow, she could murder our whole family. Mom, just listen to me, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. If I file for divorce now, citing this incident, the court might not see it as an irreconcilable breakdown. She'd walk away with half of everything. She did this to Maya for that deadbeat ex-boyfriend of hers. I will not let her use my money to support him and his kid. My dad nodded slowly. He has a point. So what's your plan? I squeezed Maya's cool little hand, my jaw so tight my teeth ached. I want her to leave with nothing but the clothes on her back. I want her name to be a curse for the rest of her life. I want them to be social pariahs. Audrey and I met in college. I was in the business school, and she was at the med school next door. One day, my blood sugar crashed, and I fainted on the quad. She was on duty at the student health center and took care of me until I came to. After that, I found every excuse I could to go back. We started dating soon after. My dad owns several industrial manufacturing companies. He's a well-known entrepreneur in the state. Audrey was an orphan who put herself through her master's with scholarships, student loans, and part-time jobs. My dad offered to give her one of his companies as a wedding gift, but she insisted on being an independent woman and took a surgeon position at a prestigious private hospital. For a while, our life was perfect. She was a devoted wife and mother. When Maya was born and we learned about her congenital heart defect, Audrey was more devastated than anyone. From the day she was born, Audrey poured everything into finding a way to make her healthy. Until Shawn Peterson, divorced and with a kid of his own, contacted her again. They had dated in college, but his parents, seeing she was just a poor girl with no connections, forced him to break up with her. He went abroad, and they lost touch. The moment he came back to Chicago with his daughter, Audrey started orbiting them. She treated that little girl better than she treated Maya. She completely stopped paying attention to Maya's condition. The one that got away had returned, a romanticized ghost from her past. And I, the man she married, became an afterthought. I never believed she could be so callous toward her own daughter. But one phone call from her ex was all it took for her to abandon her own flesh and blood on a stainless steel table, not caring if she lived or died. I used to be so proud of the wife I had. Now, the very thought of her makes me want to burn the world down. 5. Audrey finally decided to crawl out of her little love nest. When my phone rang, her tone was sharp, angry. "You haven't been home in days. Where the hell have you been?" While the mother of my child is off shacking up with some asshole, my daughter is in the hospital. As her father, don't you think I should be with her? What home am I supposed to go back to? Watch your mouth, Leo. There's nothing going on between Shawn and me. Stop projecting your own dirty thoughts onto everyone else. I went by Maya's room. It was empty. You can't even get your story straight when you lie. If you're going to be petty, just say so. Don't use our daughter as a shield. Have you no shame? I let out a cold laugh. Maya was transferred to North Shore days ago. Is there anything in that head of yours besides Shawn Peterson? Transferred. She was fine where she was. What's wrong with you? Do you think some doctor at North Shore knows her case better than I do? You have a nerve to talk about your medical skills. Do you have any idea that Maya almost died on your operating table? Oh, stop it. You've told that lie so many times you're starting to believe it yourself. You're being completely irrational, Leo. I had lost all patience. Why did you call me? If you have nothing important to say, I'm hanging up. You assaulted Shawn, and he's thinking about pressing charges. It took everything I had to calm him down. So, for once, be reasonable and stop making things difficult for me. Come over, apologize to him, and we can all put this behind us. He'll drop it. I exploded. He can go to hell, and you can go with him. I hung up and immediately blocked her number. When I got back to the hospital room, Maya was sitting up in bed, playing with a new set of Barbie dolls. She looked up at me with her big, round eyes. "Daddy, I've been in the hospital for a long time. Why hasn't Mommy come to visit me?" The question was a punch to the gut. It felt cruel to tell a 5-year-old the truth. But if I didn't, who knew what Audrey might do to her next? I took Maya's hand and gently explained what had happened over the last few days. Her eyes filled with disbelief. "But why would Mommy do that? Isn't she my mommy?" Seeing her so hurt broke my heart. I pushed down my own grief and asked, if Mommy and I decide to live in different houses, who would Maya want to live with? Her lower lip trembled. "I don't think Mommy likes me. The last time Uncle Shawn and Chloe came over, Chloe wanted one of my dolls. I didn't want to give it to her, but Mommy said I wasn't being nice and needed to share. She got mad and spanked me, and then she gave the doll to Chloe. But Chloe didn't even want it," she whispered. From my window, I saw her throw in the trash as soon as they got downstairs. Mommy told me if I was selfish like that again, I was a bad kid, and she would throw away all my dolls. Maya looked up at me, her eyes pleading. "Daddy, I don't want to live with Mommy. She only likes Chloe. She doesn't like me. I want to be with you. You won't leave me, right, Daddy?" A lump formed in my throat. I pulled her into a tight hug. "Of course not, sweetheart. Daddy will never, ever leave you." 6. That afternoon, I went to a nearby restaurant to get Maya her favorite mac and cheese. When I pushed open the door to her room, I found Audrey standing over her, scolding her. "Well, have I told you before? You need to be generous with your little sister. It's just a stupid doll. You shouldn't be so selfish. Apologize to her right now." Maya, swimming in her hospital gown, looked helpless. The moment she saw me, tears streamed down her face. "Daddy." That's when I noticed Shawn Peterson and his little demon were in the room, too. The little brat was clutching one of Maya's new Barbies. Shawn saw me and plastered on an apologetic look. "Leo, I'm so sorry about all this. I had no idea Audrey was in surgery with Maya that day. When Chloe got hurt, I'm just a guy, I didn't know what to do. I figured Audrey's a doctor, so I called her. Thankfully, Maya's okay. Come on, Leo, you're a man. Be the bigger person here. Don't hold this against Audrey." I walked over and punched him squarely in the face, sending him staggering back. "Get your kid and get the hell out of my sight. Now." Shawn clutched his jaw, his face contorted with rage. "You're still angry, Leo, I get it. I won't press charges for this. But Audrey and I are just friends. We're not doing anything wrong. If you divorce her because of me, I'll never be able to forgive myself." Audrey jumped in front of him protectively. "Leo, you're acting like a psychopath. Shawn came here in good faith to apologize and even offered to forgive you for assaulting him. And this is how you thank him. Thank him? Thank him for what? For nearly getting my daughter killed? I snatched the Barbie from the little girl's hands. This is my daughter's doll. I'd sooner throw it in an incinerator than let your spawn play with it. The little girl burst into tears. Seeing his daughter cry, Shawn lost it. It's a piece of plastic. You're treating it like it's gold. Maya is the older sister. Doesn't she know how to share? How are you raising your child? Audrey pointed a finger at Maya on the bed. Just keep spoiling her, Leo. Look what she's becoming. No concept of sharing, no kindness. If I don't step in and teach her some discipline, who knows what kind of delinquent she'll grow up to be. I slapped her across the face. It was the first time in my life I had ever hit her. Get out, Audrey. My daughter doesn't need to be taught anything by a venomous monster like you. You don't deserve to be her mother. Just because she had one surgery, you're going to let her get away with anything? You're ruining her. Don't you understand? I pulled Maya's medical chart from the drawer and threw it at her face. Audrey, look at what you've done. She picked it up impatiently. After a single glance, her eyes shot to Maya, wide with disbelief. She gripped the chart, reading it over and over again. This is impossible. It can't be. Impossible. Did you know your assistant wasn't even qualified to be in that O? Or he tried to clean up your mess and ended up nearly killing my daughter. I snatched the chart back from her hands. Audrey, I am holding you accountable for this. I'll see you in court. 7. The next day, the hospital administrator came to visit Maya. Audrey tagged along. The portly man offered a few insincere words of sympathy to Maya before getting to the point. Leo, my friend, listen to an old pro, he said, placing a hand on my shoulder. You and Dr. Vance are husband and wife. There's no grudge that can't be settled. And Audrey, she's the star of our hospital. Now, she admits she made a mistake here, but if you look at the big picture, it's not a major malpractice incident. This is something we can handle internally as a family. If this goes to court, Audrey could end up with a mark on her record. You wouldn't want that to affect your daughter's future, right? Applying to college, grad school. That kind of thing follows a family. The old bastard acted like he was concerned for my daughter's future, but every word was a knife in my back. He was using my child as a bargaining chip, trying to downplay the incident to protect the hospital's reputation and leave me holding the bag. I crossed my arms and smirked at him. Don't try to scare me. I'm not a child. This was a catastrophic failure. My daughter was almost killed by one of your doctors. What kind of ship are you running here? And don't think for a second I'm only coming after her, I said, my gaze shifting to Audrey. The hospital is just as liable, and you're not getting away with it. My eyes locked onto Audrey's. Oh, and I haven't forgotten about your boyfriend and his kid. We'll get to them. I've got all the time in the world. Audrey's face flushed with anger. Leo, I'm telling you for the last time, there is nothing going on between Shawn and me. Stop making things sound so ugly. You think this is ugly? I haven't even started. Maya is still recovering. I don't have time for you right now. Just wait for the summons from my lawyer. Audrey stared me down. Leo, do you want a divorce? Is there someone else? A divorce? Don't flatter yourself. So you can take my money and run off to play house with your lover and his kid? No thanks. I'm not divorcing you. I'm not kind enough to make room for that asshole. I'm going to make your life a living hell. I'm going to make sure you understand just how worthless and disgusting you truly are. I pointed to the door. I don't have time to listen to this garbage. Get out. Now, before I get physical. The administrator held up his hands. Okay, calm down. We're going. After that day, the hospital administrator didn't dare show his face again. Audrey, however, started coming to the hospital every few days. I never let her in the room. I sent her away every single time. One day, I had to go down to the pharmacy to pick up a prescription. When I returned, I saw Audrey in the room, sitting by Maya's bed. She was holding a thermos, a spoon poised at her lips as she gently blew on it. Mommy made this soup especially for you. It's full of nutrients. If you drink it, you'll feel all better. And when you're well, Mommy will buy you lots of dolls, and we'll take you and Chloe to Disneyland. How does that sound? Maya flinched away from the spoon. I don't want it, Mommy. A flicker of impatience crossed Audrey's face. You have to eat. Your body needs food to heal. Now eat. I strode into the room, snatched the thermos from her hand, and hurled it against the far wall, where it clattered to the floor. Leo, what is wrong with you? I know you're mad at me, but don't take it out on our child's health. I laughed, a harsh, grating sound. I'm taking it out on her health. Who left her on the operating table? Who brought that little brat here to steal her toys while she was still sick? A wave of guilt finally washed over her face. That's in the past. Why do you keep bringing it up? I pointed at the spilled contents of the thermos. What is that? It's a creamy chicken and almond soup. I made it for Maya. I slapped her hard. I think I'd slapped her more in the past week than I'd raised my voice to her in the past 7 years. Maya has a severe nut allergy, you moron. Were you trying to kill her? She stammered, wringing her hands, not knowing what to do. I didn't know. No, wait, I forgot. I thought she was allergic to dairy. Then, a look of realization dawned on her face. Oh my God, look at my memory. It's Chloe who's allergic to dairy. Audrey, I get that you're in a hurry to make room for your new family, but you're supposed to get rid of the husband first, not your own daughter. Leo, please let me explain. I've just been so busy lately. Shawn and Chloe need so much help, and things at the hospital have been crazy. I couldn't stand to listen to another word. Are you leaving? Oh. Or do I have to throw you out? She picked up the dented thermos. Don't be angry. You're still upset. I'll come back to see Maya when you've cooled down. Get out. That evening, when my parents came to the hospital, I told them what had happened. That bitch came back, my mom exclaimed, slamming her hand on her thigh. If I'd been here, I would have ripped her hair out. Dad, I said, I think it's time we hired a couple of security guards. We can't have just anyone walking in here. If she actually managed to hurt Maya, it would be too late. My dad smacked his forehead. Why didn't I think of that? Don't worry. I'll have 2 guys from corporate security here tomorrow morning. My mom hugged Maya, tears welling in her eyes. To have a monster for a mother. My poor granddaughter. What did she do to deserve this? The next morning, 2 men in black suits were stationed outside Maya's room. My mother, meanwhile, refused to leave her side for a second. The sight of them caused a stir on the floor. Rumors flew that a mafia boss or some billionaire was staying in that room. I ignored the gossip. Maya's safety was all that mattered. With the hospital front secured, I turned my attention to the next phase of my attack. It was time to bring out the heavy artillery. Audrey received the court summons and the news of Shawn's termination on the same day. Shawn worked as a marketing director for a logistics company. It was a job I had helped him get. That company had a major contract with one of my family's businesses. Without that connection, Audrey, a doctor at a private hospital, would never have been able to get him in the door. All it took was one phone call from my father to the company's CEO, a few choice words about Shawn's character, and the CEO fired him on the spot. Shawn called Audrey from the parking lot, a cardboard box of his belongings in his arms, demanding to know what happened. Forgetting her own legal troubles, Audrey immediately called me to chew me out. My number was still blocked, so she had to use Shawn's phone. Leo, you've gone too far. Shawn is a single dad. Do you have any idea how hard that is? Why would you do this to him? What kind of man are you? I know you're angry with me, but that's between us. We can solve our own problems. Why do you have to drag innocent people into it? He's lost his job now. How is he supposed to support his daughter? Your father, Leo? How can you have so little compassion? Her delusional rant was so absurd I could only fire back with raw fury. Compassion? I'll show you compassion when you're both rotting in hell. What does his divorce have to do with me? Did I sleep with his wife? Did I tell his wife to abandon her own dying child? It's one thing to have an empty head, Audrey, but you don't have to fill it with rocks. And let me tell you something. If you give him $1 single, I will sue him for twice that amount. Go ahead and try me. You've got your own summons to deal with, and you're worried about him. Who do you think you are, a saint? After hanging up, I immediately created a group text with every single person Audrey and I knew in common. Most of you have probably heard about how Audrey nearly killed our daughter, I wrote. She has abandoned her family and is now spending my money to support another man. I will be getting that money back. From this moment on, her finances are her own. I am stating for the record that I do not approve of her borrowing money from any of you. If you lend her anything, that's on you. Don't come to me when she can't pay you back. Audrey tried to send a voice message to the group. I deleted it instantly and then muted her from the chat. Unable to reach me, Audrey pulled some strings of her own and got Shawn a job in the logistics department at her hospital. The day he showed up for work in his new uniform, I had someone write up a detailed account of the entire saga. I posted it online, a long, damning Facebook post, along with the court summons and screenshots of her text messages. Then I paid to boost the post. Within half a day, the hospital was trending for all the wrong reasons. The story exploded over the next 48 hours, going viral across every platform. Who would let this doctor treat them? She might leave you sliced open on the table to run off with her lover. And the hospital is just as bad. It's insane they'd keep a doctor like that on staff. If she can do that to her own child, imagine how she treats her other patients. A love so pure it nearly killed a child. They should just lock themselves away from society and leave the rest of us alone. The online outrage was a tidal wave. The hospital, facing a massive public relations disaster, deleted all of its social media accounts overnight. Shawn's new career lasted exactly one day. The hospital fired him, no reason given, and had security escort him off the property. Audrey wasn't safe either. The hospital board ordered her to take an indefinite leave of absence, pending review. They didn't fire her, not yet. The hospital administrator finally realized I wasn't bluffing. He called me, practically begging. He said they would agree to any conditions if I would just drop the lawsuit. Weren't you the one who told me to handle this internally a few days ago? Having some regrets now? The lawsuit against the hospital is being filed separately. It takes a little longer. Don't worry, you'll get your copy in a day or two. I hung up. Audrey was finally fired, but it was too little too late. Even if the hospital had drawn and quartered her in the main lobby, I wouldn't have dropped the lawsuit. A few days later, Audrey, Shawn, and his daughter intercepted my car on the street. Shawn dropped to his knees in front of my car and started slapping himself across the face hard. He forced his crying daughter to kneel beside him. "Brother, I know I caused problems for your family, but I'm begging you, don't do this," he pleaded. "I have a child to support. Please, just give me a chance to survive. Chloe is so young. She's innocent in all of this. If you're angry, take it out on me, but don't punish her. Chloe, kneel properly. Beg the nice man to spare us, to give her daddy a way to feed you." A crowd started to gather, their phones already out. Facing their curious and judgmental stares, I reached into my passenger seat, pulled out a thick stack of papers, and threw them into the air. The papers, scattered by the wind, contained a detailed printout of the entire story, including screenshots of my text conversations with Audrey. I had anticipated a public spectacle like this, and come prepared. I shouted to the crowd, "If there's a single lie on those pages, may my entire family be struck dead." People snatched the papers out of the air. As they read, their expressions shifted from curiosity to disgust and fury, their eyes landing on Audrey and Shawn. "You're that doctor, the one who left her kid to die on the table. And you have the nerve to bring your mistress to confront him? You should be ashamed of yourself. Playing the victim? You nearly killed his child, and you want him to forgive you?" A few burly men in the crowd surged forward and started laying into Shawn with fists and feet. "You homewrecker, you helped almost kill a little girl. I'm going to beat the hell out of you today." "Yeah, get the bastard." Audrey, seeing Shawn being beaten, started crying and begging. "Stop. Please stop hitting him." Her pleas were full of anguish, but she didn't dare take a single step forward to intervene, letting the crowd pummel him. An older woman grabbed a fistful of Audrey's hair and slapped her hard across the face. "You're no better than he is. You call yourself a doctor? You're not even fit to be a veterinarian." I watched the chaos for another moment, then slipped through the crowd, got back in my car, and drove away. That night, a bruised and swollen Shawn returned to his apartment with his daughter to find the hallway walls spray-painted with "Go Die, scum." His front door had been splashed with red paint, with the word "die" written over it in black. A group of thugs started hanging around his building, shouting obscenities up at his window day and night. He became too terrified to even leave his apartment. The neighbors, fed up with the noise, called the police. The cops would come and chase the guys off, but as soon as the patrol car was gone, they'd be right back. They changed their tactics. Instead of shouting, they'd just sit on the curb across the street, staring silently up at his window for hours. When he had to pick up his daughter from daycare, 2 or 3 of them would follow him, staying just close enough to make sure he saw them. Finally, Shawn snapped. Against Audrey's advice, he confronted the men. Words were exchanged, and a brawl broke out. The police were called again, and since both sides had thrown punches, everyone was booked for assault. Audrey had to dip into her savings to pay off the thugs to sign a mediation agreement and get Shawn released. She paid for Shawn and his daughter to move to a new apartment, but somehow the thugs found their new address. The harassment started all over again. This time, no matter how much they taunted him, Shawn didn't dare engage. A video of the thugs beating Shawn went viral on TikTok with the caption, "Cheaters getting what they deserve." In the video, Shawn was getting pummeled while Audrey, trying to intervene, was shoved into a muddy puddle, looking utterly pathetic. I was lounging on my couch, scrolling through my phone, watching the video of Shawn running away in terror, abandoning his own daughter, with Audrey's desperate sobs in the background. I looked up at my dad, who was on the floor watching cartoons with Maya. "That was you, wasn't it?" My dad raised an eyebrow. "You can't make accusations without proof. You may be my son, but I could still sue you for slander." Just then, the doorbell rang. Our housekeeper opened the door, and my mom's sharp voice cut through the air. "What are you doing here?" It was Audrey, looking awkward and lost on our doorstep. "Mom," my mom scoffed. "Don't you dare call me that. I'm not the mother-in-law of a woman who tries to murder her own granddaughter." My dad cleared his throat. "Let her in." My mom took Maya by the hand and led her upstairs. "Come on, sweetie. Let's go play with your dolls." Audrey's eyes followed Maya up the stairs. "Maya needs to get a lot of rest." My mom shot her a murderous look. "Like you give a damn? Get lost." My dad sat up straight and lit a cigarette. "Spit out. It's late and I have no desire to waste my night on you." Audrey stood in the middle of our living room like a servant about to be punished, twisting her hands. "Dad, don't waste my time. Say what you have to say or get out." Audrey seemed to gather her courage. Looking at me, she began, "Shawn, he has a child to take care of." In a flash, my dad reached under the coffee table and pulled out a meat cleaver. "I'll kill you, you son of a bitch." Audrey screamed and ran for her life, so fast she left one of her shoes behind on our porch. I rushed to my dad's side, patting his chest to calm him down. "Dad, you're a heart. Don't get so worked up. What would we do if something happened to you?" My dad glanced at me and gave the cleaver a practiced twirl. "Relax," he said. "It's not even sharp." The day of the trial finally arrived. For her role in the medical incident, Audrey's license was permanently revoked. She was ordered to pay $530,000 in damages. The malpractice was ruled a felony, and she was sentenced to 1 year and 8 months in prison. The hospital, found guilty of gross negligence in its staff management, was forced to suspend all operations for a full year, a death sentence for a private institution. In the middle of all this, I finalized the divorce. Audrey tried to argue for a share of our assets, refusing to leave with nothing. "If you want me to keep harassing Shawn and his kid for the rest of their lives," I told her, "then by all means hold on to that money." Her ex-boyfriend was, in the end, her weak spot. She agreed to my terms, on one condition, that I wouldn't try to recover the money she had already given to Shawn. I agreed instantly. Of course, my promise didn't apply to my father. My dad filed a separate civil suit against Shawn. Since most of our marital assets were gifts from my parents, he successfully argued that the more than $40,000 she had spent on Shawn was a fraudulent transfer of family funds. The court ordered Shawn to pay it all back. By then, Shawn was homeless and saddled with a mountain of debt. Every time he rented a room, the thugs would show up and his new neighbors would force him to move out. He tried to contact me, begging me to call off the dogs, but I never gave him the time of day. The image of Maya in the ICU, covered in tubes, was a ghost that would haunt me for the rest of my life. With no other options, Shawn started living on the streets, collecting cans and bottles to survive. I heard he and his daughter were living in an abandoned construction site on the outskirts of the city. After that, I lost interest in tracking him. The last I heard, he had dropped his daughter off at a state-run children's home and skipped town, never to be heard from again. A year into her sentence, Audrey requested a visitor. Out of morbid curiosity, I went to see her one last time. I was shocked by her appearance. Her head was shaved, revealing a jagged, terrifying scar from a stitched-up wound. Her body was covered in black and blue bruises, and she walked with a pronounced limp. I frowned. "What happened to you?" She gave a bitter smile. "The other inmates found out what I did. This was them." "I see. Well, take care of yourself. Leo, I know you hate me, and I know I was responsible for what happened to Maya, but I am her mother. She's my flesh and blood, and I swear there was never anything going on with Shawn for things to end up this way." I glanced at the digital clock on the wall. Are you done? Leo, don't call me again. I stood up. For any reason. As the life drained from Audrey's face, I gave her a bright, wide smile. Goodbye, Audrey. When Maya was 8 years old, she underwent a final corrective surgery performed by the top pediatric surgical team in the country. In the hospital corridor, my family waited on pins and needles. My mother's hands were clasped in prayer, her whole body trembling. Please, God, please watch over her. My father stood stiffly by the door to the OR, forcing himself not to pace, his eyes fixed on the illuminated light above the door. Finally, the doors swung open. We rushed forward. The lead surgeon pulled down his mask, offering us a reassuring smile. Don't worry. Everything went perfectly. The surgery was a success. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure at the far end of the hall, near the stairwell. A woman in tattered clothes, limping away, her silhouette hunched and broken. But no one was paying attention to her anymore.